Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Mars square or opposition to South Node in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects of the natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Mars square or opposite the South Node in your natal chart, there may be difficulty finding the energy and vitality, which is Mars, to do things that you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node. Now, let's say, for example, if you have the South Node in Aquarius, and things you're naturally proficient in, maybe matters with altruism, humanitarianism. It may be selfless acts. It could be doing something with astrology, astronomy, computers, electronics, aviation, meteorology, innovation, as some examples. Now, the thing too is sexual partners, which is Mars, may not be in agreement with those things, the things that you're naturally proficient in. Now, let's say, for example, the South Node is in Aries. Things that you're naturally proficient in, which is the South Node again, maybe matters with being aggressive, taking initiative, having enterprise, being able to confront those when necessary. It could be doing something Aries related, whether it be welding, carpentry, something connected with a leadership position, military field. It could be doing something with sports or speech pathology or physiology, anything Aries related, helmet, hat design. And also too, the people that were prominent in your past, which is the South Node, may have trouble and difficulty in terms of seeing your courage and bravery, which is Mars. It doesn't mean you don't have courage and bravery, but what it is that they just don't, they're not seeing it, or maybe they're not in agreement with the things that you show in your courage and bravery. If Mars is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, those matters in which you show that courage and bravery could be home related. It could be standing up for home and family members. If somebody's criticizing or saying something derogatory regarding your family or your ancestry, your roots, traditions, you would be willing to stand up for those things more so than most people. As an example. Now, another thing too is that it may be laborious effort as far as finding that drive and motivation, which is Mars. For really. In terms of expressing the natural built-in abilities that are associated with the South Node position. South Node in Virgo, may have natural built-in abilities, for analytics or statistics, extrapolating data, organizing, compartmentalizing. It could be cleaning, sanitation, as some examples, doing things involving editing, correcting. The South Node is in Taurus. The natural built-in abilities may be tied into generating money, accumulating possessions, resources, doing things that require persistence, endurance, patience, perseverance. It could be, doing something Taurus related, such as carpet laying, geology, working as a stockbroker or pawnbroker, something with architecture, agriculture, gardening, cultivation, as some examples. And also, it may be hard, finding the enthusiasm, which is Mars, and going away from negative qualities that are connected with the South Node position. Now, if the South Node, is in Libra, it could be certain ambivalence or indecision, or seeking peace at any cost. Maybe being too quick to compromise, maybe even disrupting relationships, in some remote cases. Maybe putting on some superficial charm, just to get what the person wants. As some examples, if the South Node is in Aries is another example. There may be aggressive tendencies or very combative energy. It could be, being outspoken just for the sake of being outspoken, as some examples. And also, too, the overdeveloped and redundant qualities that are associated with the South Node position may have more of an adverse effect on your connection with Mars-related people than most. Now, Mars-related people can cover many persons. It could be surgeons, leaders, sexual partners, those that are involved in sports, athletics, or law enforcement, as some examples. And the thing is, if the South Node is in Virgo, as an example, redundant, overdeveloped qualities, maybe tied in with overanalyzing things. It's like, the astrologer seeing the Dwad within the Dwad in an astrological placement. South Node in Aquarius, can be over, eccentric energy, just being, unique, just constantly being unique for the sake of being unique, having to always do things, or often do things in an unorthodox manner, just for the sake of being different, things of that nature. And the thing is, too, is that, the people, those Mars-related people, again, may not be, overly beneficial to what you want to leave behind, which is the South Node. If the South Node is in Gemini, as an example, what you may want to leave behind may be tied in with being overly talkative, or it could be, maybe there's some tendency to gossip, or there's something with some kind of communications, what needs to be, basically, left behind. It could be, it could even be neighbors in some cases. It could be, just the general qualities, that are affecting someone to one's detriment, connected with the South Node in Gemini that need to be left behind. Again, could be a proclivity, to gossip, or there may be some, ambivalence, or perhaps scattering, really, dissipating oneself through lack of an integrating purpose, as some examples. Now, another thing, too, is that Mars square or opposite the South Node in the natal chart may also be expressed in having issues in terms of expressing that courage, that leadership and enterprise, which is Mars, in a past life, if you believe in that, because some believe that, the South Node is connected with past lives, and if you don't, it could just be something, more just connected with your past, just in general in that first half of life, which is the South Node. Now, if, Mars is in Leo, as an example, that, the courage, may be tied in, with a situation that may have been very, dramatic. May have been something blown out of proportion. It may have been tied in, with one's pride or ego, or something, that was, very, attention-seeking. It might have been issues with children, in some cases. Mars in Virgo is another example. It might have been, if there were issues, maybe expressing courage in a work-related situation with fellow employees. Maybe it was, over, some criticism, as an example, as some examples. Mars and Aquarius may have had, it could be some issues, with standing up for something, connected with friends or human, rights, things of, things of that nature, in matters with attaining goals and aspirations, as some examples. Now, another thing, too, is that there may be difficulties with the actions, and activities in general, which is Mars, in that first half of life. It could be where there may be a number of actions, that might have been incomplete or delayed. As some examples are getting, the enthusiasm or motivation, for those matters. If Mars is in Scorpio, as an example, it could be actions that were associated with insurance or wills or estates, matters with support, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying stay